Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. The Curse of Oak Island, more evidence of ancient ships unloading precious cargo at the swamp. This week on The Curse of Oak Island, once again, it was all about the swamp and uncovering the secrets that lie underneath its murky depths. The team believes they may have uncovered a wharf or pier-like structure, possibly hundreds of years old, that stretches out from the swamp into the ocean. And they reckon it was used to unload a large amount of cargo, hopefully treasure. This piece of the puzzle began 5 weeks ago when geoscientist Dr. Ian Spooner, our expert on all things swamp-related, thought he discovered another human-made structure in the swamp. Last year, a paved area was uncovered that the good Dr. Spooner dated to an incredible 1200 AD. Unfortunately, this new structure has not been dated yet, but Spooner and Rick Lagina were able to map its width and length. It was 20 feet wide and 70 feet long and was located in the southeast corner of the swamp at about 3 feet under the water. The guys have already drained large parts of the swamp on 2 occasions, but somehow they'd missed this. It's time to drain again, but unfortunately, they need a permit before they can continue. While the guys waited for a permit, they decided to investigate beyond the confines of the swamp. Spooner wanted to know if the structure continued out to sea, so he, Alex Lagina, and Tony Sampson rigged a boat up with sonar and went out to explore the shoreline. Possible ancient wharf found just under water surface, and sure enough, right by the swamp, the sonar picked up a possible human-made structure under the water. It was a perfectly square 8 feet by 8 feet. All the evidence in recent weeks has pointed in the direction of large-scale activity occurring between the swamp and the recently discovered structure at Lot 15. Last night's discoveries indicate that heavy unloading of ships could have occurred at or near the swamp. Last month, Gary Drayton and Jack Begley uncovered a number of ox shoes, which led them to believe they discovered a trail used for transporting goods between the swamp and the structure at Lot 15. As for Lot 15, the archaeologists, led by David McGinnis, think they found an old pine tar kiln that could have been used to seal underground tunnels. They also suspect there's a tunnel entrance at the site buried beneath some rocks. Despite the shortened season, coupled with the restrictions due to COVID-19 that have limited large-scale excavations for this year, it seems that the guys have started making real progress in piecing together all the clues. What seems clear is that they are increasingly finding evidence that large amounts of cargo were transported to and unloaded on Oak Island. Now the Fellowship just needs to find out what this cargo was. Ancient shipwrecked just off the North Shore. There was one more interesting discovery last night. As the guys glided through the water on the north side of the island, the sonar imaging picked up what looked like a shipwreck at about 30 feet below the surface. They were just offshore, in front of a boulderless beach, meaning unloading might have been possible at that point. It's definitely something the guys will need to check out. The swamp on Oak Island has always been a focal point of intrigue for treasure hunters, historians, and fans of The Curse of Oak Island. This seemingly innocuous patch of wetland, nestled between the island's eastern and western shores, has produced countless theories, stories, and discoveries that suggest it was once the site of something extraordinary. The recent discoveries, hinting at the possibility that ancient ships might have unloaded precious cargo at this very spot, have only added fuel to the ever-burning fire of mystery that surrounds the island. ### the swamp. A man-made marvel? From the very beginning, the swamp has been an enigma. Unlike the natural swamps found elsewhere, this one bears the distinct markings of human intervention. Early investigations, combined with modern technology like seismic scanning, have revealed that the swamp was likely man-made, or at least heavily modified by human hands. The shape, depth, and peculiar features of the swamp have long suggested that it could have been used for something far more significant than simply collecting rainwater. But why would anyone go to the trouble of creating or altering a swamp? What purpose could it have served? The latest evidence points towards the tantalizing possibility that the swamp was once a hidden harbor, a perfect spot for ships to unload their precious cargo away from prying eyes. #mysterious structures and ancient artifacts. As the Legina brothers and their team dug deeper, both literally and figuratively, into the swamp, they began to uncover evidence that seemed to point to ancient maritime activity. Wooden structures dating back centuries were unearthed beneath the murky waters. These structures, possibly remnants of a wharf or dock, suggest that ships may have once anchored here. The discovery of these wooden beams, perfectly preserved by the anaerobic conditions of the swamp, was nothing short of a revelation. But it wasn't just the wood that caught the attention of the team. Alongside these structures, they found artifacts that hinted at the presence of people from far-flung regions. Pieces of pottery, old tools, and even items that seemed to have origins in Europe or the Middle East began to surface. These discoveries led to a flurry of speculation. Could it be that Oak Island was once a stopping point for ancient mariners, perhaps even pirates or explorers, who needed a secluded place to unload their treasures? Was the swamp intentionally created to conceal this activity, hiding the evidence from future generations? #the mystery of the stones. Another piece of the puzzle came in the form of large stones, seemingly placed in a deliberate formation within the swamp. These stones, some of them massive, are not native to Oak Island and would have required significant effort to move. Their placement raises the question of whether they were part of a larger structure, possibly a foundation or a marker, used by those who navigated the water centuries ago. The stones could also have been used as anchors or mooring points for ships, further supporting the theory that the swamp was once a bustling harbor. The fact that these stones were found in such a peculiar location, hidden beneath layers of silt and mud, only adds to the intrigue. #ancient ships and the Templar connection. One of the most compelling theories is that the swamp may have been used by the Knights Templar. This mysterious order, often linked to Oak Island due to their supposed connection to hidden treasure, is believed by some to have used the island as a secret repository for their wealth. The idea that Templar ships might have docked in the swamp, unloading gold, jewels, or even religious relics, is tantalizing. The Templar theory is bolstered by the discovery of symbols and artifacts on the island that resemble those used by the order. If the Templars were indeed involved, it would make sense that they would choose a location like Oak Island, far from the prying eyes of European authorities, to hide their treasures. The swamp, with its natural camouflage and remote location, would have been an ideal spot. The role of the swamp in Oak Island's legend. The idea that ancient ships might have used the swamp as a hidden harbor fits neatly into the broader legend of Oak Island. For centuries, stories of buried treasure, secret societies, and hidden chambers have swirled around the island. The swamp, with its mysterious origins and strange features, has always been at the heart of these stories. If the swamp was indeed used as a harbor, it could explain why so many artifacts and structures have been found in and around it. It would also provide a logical reason for why the swamp was altered in the first place. By creating a hidden harbor, those who visited the island could have unloaded their cargo in secret, leaving little trace of their presence. #A future filled with discovery.